I see where I was, maybe like 7 years ago, and I was just, a youth attending the church and, going to the activities. And then the changing factor had to have been that time, it was a summer, I believe, of 2008. We had just graduated high school and, moving into college, so it was a completely different transition in my life. And throughout that summer, there were a couple of experiences and a couple of moments that God basically just came in and really just blew down the doors of my life and, just came rushing in, and I experienced Him and I saw Him. We went to Colombia on a missionary trip with some of the members of the church, and really there I was able to just see these children that just gave their lives to Christ. They were happy. They didn't have much. They just had a couple of pairs of clothes, and they were just so full of joy and they were so happy. And me seeing that changed the way that I started to view life. I saw God really making me humble and showing me, I have something greater for you, and you don't really need to be focused on, gaining things for yourself and personal satisfactions. The other events that happened, it was one of them was big stuff. And when you go there, you just, God is just crashing down, and God is, coming down and just impacting everyone's life. Like, you can't go there and not experience Him. Through the praise and worship, I can say that Big Stuff was the first place where I truly, was able to experience worship with people my age and in a different realm. And in that summer, after going to Colombia, after going to Big Stuff, the last thing was I went to Virginia where my brother lives. I was brought up just with my mom, so it was just me and her really growing up, and I never had a father in my life growing up. I also have an older brother, and I have 2 other sisters, and they're also older than me. From the impression that I got and things that I would hear, from my mother and other people in my family, was that they basically denied me. So I basically grew up, for about 18 years of my life, knowing that I had 2 sisters, but never having a relationship with them, never speaking to them, absolutely no contact. And I remember going to his church, and they were having a retreat at his church. So we're there for about 3 or 4 days at this camp, at the retreat at my brother's church. So this retreat's coming to an end. My sister-in-law comes up to me and she said, "Oh, come here, your sister wants to talk to you." So I go to where my sister is, to one of them, and there's just tears running down her eyes, and she's trying to talk, and she can't really, the words can't even come out of her mouth, and she just comes up to me and she's hugging me. And I knew what was going on. She knew what was going on, and obviously, God had been working in their hearts. And all I can hear her trying to say is, she's just trying to say, "I'm sorry." I didn't go to Virginia expecting, I'm going there with the mission of, I need to, fix this relationship with them. But God did that, and I just saw God work in their lives, and God, make such a huge impact in their lives. That summer and those events that I was able to experience just completely blew me away, and God just came crashing down into my life, and ever since then, it's just been a journey. All of a sudden, I start growing in my relationship with Him, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that my church has given me, where I was able to become a small group leader for high school students. Recently I've been asked to start translating at the church, and that's been an experience that I never thought I was going to have to do, or I never pictured myself doing. But I just like to be available, and wherever God calls me next, whether I feel that I'm good at it or not, if that's where He's going to call me, that's where I'm going to go. If I can name my life or my story, I would probably call it the journey. Your life here in Miami could go a million different ways. I don't have a story where I came from, someone that was completely lost and, out in the world, doing drugs and all the temptations that come with life. I've seen my life, grow. I've seen it come from, being a young kid that's just trying to have fun, and wherever he went, just trying to have a blast. what's the next fun thing I could do, to being placed in an opportunity to speak to other people about Christ and speak to, younger people about Christ and people my age about Christ. If I could write a last chapter, I guess I would say I'd like to be in a place where I impacted people's life and people were to say, like, we saw Jesus through him. Something about him, reminded us about Jesus, and the way that he acted with people and the way that he made people feel, and Mauricio led people towards Christ, and always gave God the glory. Once you discover God's love and once you experience him, you can't live another way.